Hi. I guess everyone can hear me well, right?
Yeah.
I made lots of preparations here because this is like, I guess, the first online session for the last year, I suppose. So I made lots of preparations here. Hope everything is great. Okay, really great to see you all here. Welcome to our session. Let me open the chat just to see uh, everything you will write. So yeah, today for the next 25, maybe 30 minutes, we are going to talk about the. Actually, I have a Chrome tab to share. Yeah, just to just to see something on the screen. Uh, so we are going to talk about the 360 perspective of our apps and how to rock the cross-team collaboration in the company. So for the last couple of years, we keep pushing the idea that ASO is just not the keyword optimization or just something else, but the whole supporting actions across the whole app lifecycle. So including all the stages with starting of competitor analytics when we when we using ASO just to analyze the niche where we are going to work to check our competitors, their rankings, their reviews, their feedbacks, so their graphics. So we moving on with the discover optimization to work on organic user acquisition metrics. And then we are working hard on conversion optimization here as well. And also we are taking care of our customers by supporting them in every channel we have, including App Store, Google Play, even more channels, and so on. So, and on every step of this life cycle, we need to cooperate with other teams in our companies, be friends with them. And this is actually what we are going to discuss today with our guest, Ekaterina and Vadim. Both of them has outstanding experience in ASO and the overall working with app life cycles. So let's start with the uh, brief introduction of yourself. Who is going to be the first one? Kate, maybe you?
I may start.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Hi,
Well,
everyone.
yeah,
Thanks for being here. I'm Vadim, the lead ASO manager at Wachanga company, and we are building the family ecosystem. I've been into ASO for 4 years already and worked with apps of all sizes and categories, from indie developers to high-profile companies like Room Planner, Merge Matters, Abby, and many, many others. And right now, I'm responsible for the full stack of the App Store optimization, from keyword and visual optimization to launch of new products.
nice. So you like doing everything on your
Yeah,
own,
yeah.
and yeah, that's
I'm all
that
to
that,
go.
that
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that would be really great to hear more about how you're working. So yeah, let's go.
So, despite the company size, here at Wachanga, we have a startup atmosphere or startup vibe at its best. And as the head of optimization department, I don't have to spend time on the loan approval process, writing long emails, wasting my time on infinite daily meetings and yada, yada, yada. I just sketch out ideas and go to the product managers, keep them informed, while also requesting everything necessary from their side. So, for
Yeah,
example, I ask the user acquisition department to support the project during the release of an app, or during or when we launch an app in the certain countries, because of the so-called organic uplift. Anyway, we have an Asocentric approach, so most of the traffic for the majority of our projects is organic, and this approach allows us to react quickly to the events in the range of our projects. For example, we've got a period tracking app, and there was a well-known Roe v. Wade process and the abortion policy in the US. So we immediately changed the metadata and added a security message to the visible part of the metadata. And we were one of the first actually doing it. So while our competitors were coping and managing the negative feedback, we changed the title, we changed the first screenshot, we changed the feature graphic in the Google Play. We even managed to do some tests on the topic. We also launched an in-app event in the App Store about safe usage of the app, um, about the ability to use it without the registration. And there was no account needed even before this event. You could use it without the registration, but it was a good chance for us to show one of the benefits of our app, so we used it. So yeah, this is how it goes at Wachanga. Freedom and creativity is the core of our projects. That is why we are able to quickly react to the events and launch tons of experiments. Of course, there are pros and cons to this approach, but for now, at this stage of our company, it suits us. And who knows what awaits us in a year or half a year.
Yeah, agreed. So, yeah, I really love this approach when you can like just jump in into something new and react quickly on while everyone is just trying to approve something you already done, you already in
Yeah,
production,
yeah, yeah.
and customers already using it. So, on the other side, we have Ekaterina from the huge corporations. So, what is your approach? How you are working with ASO and overall its release stages in the G5 games?
Um, Let me introduce myself first of all.
Yes, sure.
It seemed that we have started some discussion before I can actually say something. But okay,
Yeah,
uh,
it's your turn now.
it's okay. To introduce myself, I actually thought about some interesting facts about me, but new maybe fact that no one knows right now. And I remembered actually that the first game I ever wrote myself, it was at the age of 14. So I guess I needed to know that games will be something that I would like to do in my life. But it took a really great path to come here. And I also, as Vadim as well, worked with different apps and games from social casino and forums to peer attackers and dating apps. And finally, I understood that games is something that I like to do. And now I'm working as one of the ASO team leads at G5 games. We make like casual games, hidden objects, match 3, and so on. And for the ASO team, we actually have a quite big amount of ASO specialists working on our games. That's because we have a lot of products, I guess, but also to optimize our work. And Vadim mentioned that they actually have a lot of freedom. I know that for corporations it's not so common, but in G5 games we also have a lot of freedom, and we try to give our ASO managers opportunity to skip several approves to test what they really want to test. So we basically do not approve the idea. Sometimes we approve the um, creatives itself to just to be sure that everything is okay. It's not connected to the main idea of the graphics or text or something. And yeah, right now I think that ASO growing from the something it's SEO for apps to some quite interesting point. And right now, I guess quite everyone, understands that ASO is on the crossroad of almost every incoming traffic. Oh, let's be honest, every incoming traffic. And if we do our work properly and we optimize the page in the best way we can, then all the teams who work with traffic gets their conversion rates better. And I guess that's a very important thing here, that we all need to work together. And by together, I mean not only the user acquisition teams like internet marketing or user acquisition itself or cross promo and so on, but also with the product managers, with the localization managers, QA engineers, and so on and so on. So if we want to get a better result, I guess we need to work together, and the success is laying somewhere there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely agreed. So you mentioned this localization stuff. So maybe there is a small difference or a huge difference between how you're working with this cultural stuff across. I don't know how many there are, how many localizations available there in the App Store and Google, like about 50, something like that. How you're working with this in this such a huge team, and how you're working with this in the startup, Vadim. So do you have anyone to consult with? Like I believe Kate has the huge department in every country where they can consult, but of course she will tell more about this. But how you're working with that, Vadim?
I see there is probably a big difference in our approach. We've got a few localization managers that we can consult with, but they're mostly freelancers. So I can go to a freelancer, I can hire him for an hour if I want to define the cultural differences. And you see that many of our competitors, they are focused only on tier 1 countries, while in particular the US, and the ASO is significantly weaker in other countries. In fact, this is where we benefit from. We also try to keep other countries in mind and optimize our metadata, text, graphics for other prospective countries. Where our competitors didn't do ASO in a proper way, or they look weaker than our app. We check the text metadata, and as you said, there are 39 localizations in the App Store and around 55 in the Google Play right now. We check the screenshots, whether they adapted them to the for example, right to left orientation in the interface and visual metadata. We check the feedback in those countries. Maybe users are complaining about the lack of translation or any other problems that we don't have. So as a result, one of our apps is the #1 app in Saudi Arabia right now, because our metadata is relevant and up to date, while our competitors didn't pay enough attention to this market. We made sure to support the right to left direction by reversing our interface to match the direction of reading of the related scripts. Anyway, sometimes it is just enough to adapt the page and to listen to your users in order to win the small markets like Hungary or Czech Republic, where big companies do not pay enough attention. So as an Asocentric company, we pay a lot of attention to the small markets. This is why we are able to win it. And that is why we, for the Saudi Arabian markets, for the Arabian markets in general, we've actually hired a person that we can consult on a daily basis. That is why I think we are winning it.
Yeah, nice to hear. Actually, when I used to work with ASO by myself, I had the same approach by just asking my translators, like, is it fine for you? Is it okay for you? Like, I had lots of problems with Asian countries because of the completely different
Asian
culture.
Scripts.
Yes, and
Such a
so.
headache.
Yeah, that was a startup approach, just to find someone online and ask him, is it fine or not? So I guess in G5 games, Kate, you have slightly more mature, let's say, approach of doing
I
this.
Yeah, something like that. So we're not startup here. Our localization manager actually would swear a lot if he heard those. Is it okay for you? They actually asked us not to do like that. They say just give us keywords and we will make you proper sentences without any errors. But talking about the approach, we have a little bit different approach here as we are digging deep into culturalization. So we try to think not only about the translation, but the wording itself, or pictures itself, characters, some cultural particularities, maybe clothes, and so on. So we think that every word and every pixel matters, and we need to find the right way to communicate to our users as well as to our colleagues. So we actually have a lot of interesting brainstorms with our designers and our localization managers to avoid the errors. I guess everyone remembers those quite interesting cases about the Japanese kimono. If you do not close it properly, it could mean that a person is dead or a person is alive. I guess several countries several companies faced the same error when you just put the kimono on, and then users come and say to you that, oh no, this character is dead, why should we play with it? And I heard from different companies the same story. And in that particular moment, you actually understand how it's important to know the cultural particularities of different
Yeah.
nationalities and different languages, and every word could actually matter. When I worked at Flow, we tried to find out which sentence people would like more. Like this is like best advice about health, or this is the best advice about health indeed. And those this one word indeed, it could actually matter. So people think that there are a lot of best advice around the internet, but the proven one are missing. So they choose to install and convert when they see the proof. So every detail matters, and we need to think about it. And I like the idea of Vadim that they are working this with the small markets. Unfortunately, in corporation, it's a little bit more difficult to do that, but that's also very interesting thing to know more cultures, to more languages, and so on.
Yeah, and I guess the bigger the bigger like title you have, the more important just to do things right, and the more like the bigger price for the mistakes. So like on startup, on the small games and apps, you can just make a typo in the title or something like that, put the commas there, and it's fine. But in the large companies, it's super important to make everything like super clean and not to like harm anyone or something like that. Okay, that's really nice second step. When we talked about the overall approach to the ASO, we talked about the localization and some graphic stuff. And as we are running out of time, the last thing I guess we can discuss in the approach working with ratings and reviews. So when I used to work with ASO, we didn't pay a lot of attention to the ratings and reviews just because it wasn't so popular. But I guess right now, how you're working with reviews in G5? Do you like monitor something, or do you ask other departments to monitor it for you, or just?
First of all, I would like to say that there are different actually approaches to use the ratings and reviews. We all know about social proof. The more stars you have, the better, and people like the apps with higher ratings and the bigger amount of stars. Also, we read the reviews to find some ideas, of course, and we use also social media managers to help us to find some feedback that we don't have in the stores, and our support team to see which ideas maybe people send to our email. So we collect all the feedbacks to find some ideas for screenshots, text, and also we work with the product team to make our in-app rating and review window more effective. So we analyze it from the outside, and they analyze it from inside, and it's a win-win situation for all of us, I guess.
Yeah, that's super nice to when you just can like place it, put a task, just make a research for me, please, for this category or something.
Oh, that's not so
Does it
easy,
work this
actually.
way? And you are sitting like a boss, and everyone is doing the localization research, the reviews research, the feedback, so everything is working like super nice. So anything different on your part, Vadim?
Yeah, I loved actually the phrase from the previous webinar where the speaker said, humanize your brand. So we are constantly working with our audience and keep in touch with them. First, it allows us to listen to our users and improve the existing product. Secondly, we always respond to the negative feedback and thus not only pay attention to the problems of our application, but in most cases, it allows us to fix the negative rating. You know what I'm saying? They just change the 1-star to a 4-star or a 5-star rating after the reply. Anyway, we have a great support team that keeps an eye on the rating. So we try to maintain a rating 4.7 in our target countries and 4.5 in all of the others. We use the native review prompt for these purposes, except in Saudi Arabia, we are testing custom form just because of the right to left direction and differences. So yeah, review monitoring might come in handy. As it said earlier, we have an ASO-focused approach, and in the category research phase, looking at the feedback might help a lot. For example, before the release of one of our new products, we studied competitor reviews and saw that many users were complaining about the lack of the night mode in their applications. So not only did we add this feature to the app, but we showed it in the visible part of the metadata. Specifically, we add the example of using the app during the night in the screenshots. This is why we were trying to benefit on our competitors' weaknesses.
Yeah, so that's I guess maybe it can be the major difference like in approaches when the like ASO first startup is mostly focused on the something that like large companies are not doing. So focusing on the like tier 2, tier 3 countries, focusing on something that missing in the other apps. That actually it's how it's called, this disrupt. So we are taking care of the features that like our competitors are missing and disrupting the market and creating something new and moving the market like forward. So it's a really great approach. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And may I
so
correct you?
sure.
We are not focused on tier 2 and tier 3 countries. We are
Yes,
not
yes.
only focused on tier 1, we are paying attention
Yeah.
to both tier 2 and tier 3 countries.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's what I mean. Sorry for.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have couple minutes left, and I guess we can we discussed the ASO, we discussed the localization, the ratings. So we can maybe sum up with some couple of words about our success metrics, for example. So I guess they are the same for everyone, but maybe there are some differences between you. Maybe in the large corporation, you are not so focused on the maybe number of keywords that you're ranking for, and mostly focused on other metrics. Am I right, or not?
I work in ASO more than 7 years, and we never been focused on keywords only. I guess it's always money on the first place, as money conquers the world, and then it's like a organic growth. It's visibility, discoverability, and installs. So I guess that's the main KPIs. And if Vadim has something to add, maybe.
Yeah, there are internal and external KPIs. They are slightly different for the new projects and for the existing projects. In the beginning of the app lifecycle, ASO is aimed more at improving the app visibility, as you said, and discoverability in order to drive more installs, lower the costs of paid marketing campaigns and user acquisition, while in the later stages, ASO is more focused on maintaining top positions in search and category rankings, total number of ranked keywords, monitoring competitors' actions, working with the conversion rate, retention, user sentiment, etc., etc., etc.
Actually, I think that I have something about that in the ASO course we made together, I guess, a couple years ago. I have the part about the KPIs, and actually, that's a great idea to separate the internal and external metrics because, for example, your manager is not super interested, I guess, in the number of ranked keywords. It's just your internal metric that you're looking for on. And yeah, I guess, but overall metrics, that external one is like revenue, downloads, is the most important stuff. Okay, so I guess we discussed a lot today. So Olga, will you jump in? Do we have anything else today?
No, you were the last session for the day. I just wanted to, as I was looking through the questions that people asked in the registration form, there were a lot of about internalization. I know that you discussed a bit like localization and how to do this, but maybe each of you can answer when to start it, and I don't know, 3 top things that you need to keep in mind when you are scaling your your app, how to choose the country, something like this, just to summarize.
I guess it would be a little bit different for the corporations and startups. For corporations, you should, if you not must, be focused on tier 1 countries, first of all, because it brings money. It doesn't it doesn't matter if you want to do something else. You should start there, but then you can add several countries. And I guess that with the internalization, culturalization, localization, you should start right ahead and try to find some learnings, to try to gather information as much as you can, read anything, talk to people, find some articles maybe, and do not hesitate to try, even if you find some tips from the other category of apps, or even not from apps, or some I don't know, hotels, cars, and so on. It's working. I know it on my own experience, when you try to take something from the kids apps and test into the social casino, and it works finally. So even though the idea seems crazy, so you need to try. And the favorite, I guess, phrase for the all ASO specialists is need to be tested. So take all the ideas you can and test it, and the success lays somewhere there.
So my advice would be do not overthink it, because actually there are so many misconceptions about the localization and internalization. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Pardon for that. You know that many experts, there are so many guides, so many tips, and everybody suggests you to do this and that, adapt your graphics, pay attention to colors, and for example use kawaii style in the Japan. And the native speakers are so tired of this that they don't actually like it, and we see so many experiments that the kawaii style didn't work in Japan, but it worked in the United States, for example, because we just wanted to test it. And it worked in Russia, but it didn't work in Japan. And in Japan the screenshots with the European style worked and performed better than the Japanese style. So do not overthink it and test it. Just test it.
I actually have one thing to add here. As one day we asked the Japanese native speaker to look through some graphics and give his feedback. And he said we made it like totally Japanese from our side of view, and he said it's like it's your opinion, and you think like, what, we did it like Japanese totally. No, sometimes we think that we did something something similar how the natives perceive the world, but it's not. So be careful with that.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. So yeah, this like as a summary of the ASO stuff is it always test and never stop testing. Yes.
I
For
think it's
everything.
also applicable to any category, like of the business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think that in ASO we hear it more often than in other side of business. So any question and you can hear it needs to be tested. Yeah.
For sure.
Makes sense. You need data.
Yeah.
You need data to back up your decisions. So it's a totally right approach, especially because it is a bit harder to prove the spend of every single dollar. So that is a bit that is a very data-driven approach.
I think if we need to choose the motto of ASO, I guess it would be need to be tested.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
how we're going
Okay.
to we're going to call this session. It needs to be tested.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for this panel. I see only marketing and ASO people in the chat left. Guys, if you have any questions, do ask them now. If not, then thanks again. It was a pleasure, and I'd love to hear your experience. I always love to hear some real life case studies. So I think no questions.
The questions now will be silent forever.
Yeah, that was the catchphrase.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you and have a great evening. It was a pleasure to have you here.